Game lab number 22. On we go. This is about looping motion, and it becomes a very, very, very common thing in game programming where you have something that's moving across the screen or down the screen, and when it moves off of the screen, you want it to kind of loop back and come across again. Or when it falls down the screen and goes off the bottom, then you want it to kind of pop back up to the top and fall down again. And so that's what we're going to look at, creating looping motion. This will involve making two programs, excuse me, remix and rename could be your friend today. Here's what you have to do. You're going to create one program where the object moves down the screen. I want it to fall from top to bottom. It can be any object you want. Once it gets to the bottom of the screen and it has kind of slid off of the bottom of the screen, then it reappears back at the top. And then it just keeps doing that over and over and over and over. The second program is pretty similar, except I just want to do it in a horizontal fashion. Create a program where the object moves across the screen. You could either do it from left to right or right to left, whichever one you want. But once it slides across and it gets off of the edge of the screen, off the side of the screen, then it resets back to the opposite side and it comes across again, and it turns into a loop where it does it over and over and over. All right. So I didn't give you any code for these. You're just going to write them up on the game lab. And I do have some hints and some directions in here that kind of talk you through it a little bit. I'm not going to read those right now. This just reminds you that when you could do the first program and then remix it and rename it and adjust it to do the second program, and then make sure you turn everything in when you're all done. So let's go over and look at a quick run through here. Let's see. I'm not even sure I have a Google or code.org window open, but we'll take care of that. All right, here we go. I'll just go create game lab and we're ready to rock and roll. I'm going to pull this out. Here would be your first step. Let's go get something. I'm just going to use this diamond right here. You know what I might do? I'm going to show you this this option right here, which might become more important later on. But see how much empty space there is around that diamond? I'm going to use this button right over here on the side to say crop sprite. It'll fit the content a little bit tighter. Doesn't look any different, and it's not really any bigger than it was or smaller than it was, but it doesn't have as much empty space around it, and I don't know, that can be kind of helpful sometimes, I think. All right, anyway, back over to code. All right, let's go to work, and I'm going to try to work fast here. Boom, and I'm going to do my set animation. I'll just call this diamond, and I'm going to set it. I'm going to make it fall down the screen, so I'm going to go over 200 and down 0. This will be diamond, D, and I want it to look like that diamond ore that I had out of the. All right, let's throw in. Oh, there's another thing I need to do here. Now I need to go ahead and assign it a velocity, and I'm going to do that outside of the draw loop. Pay attention. It's going to fall down the screen, so it's going to be a velocity y, and I'm going to put it outside of the draw loop. All right, and how fast it falls is up to you. In fact, it could even be a random number, so that sometimes your diamond or whatever you're using, sometimes it falls fast and sometimes it falls slower. So you could use a random number. In fact, I'll do that, right? I could assign it a velocity, or I could say, okay, let's take velocities anywhere from 5 to 20. And so that means some of them are going to be slower and some of them are going to be faster and some of them are going to be in between, and we just don't exactly know what we're going to get. All right, so I'm going to go to drawing. I'm going to throw in a background command here. We'll just make that diamond is kind of bluish, right? I think I'll make a gray background for it. Golly, and let's go ahead and throw in a draw sprites here at the bottom, and let's just run that. And so here's what we've got. The diamond just falls, right? If I reset it and run it, and every time I run this, it's going to fall at kind of a different speed, or there's a range of speeds here, right? Okay. Okay. So now what we got to do is make it so that when it falls, once that diamond has fallen all the way down, it's kind of disappeared off the bottom of the screen, I want it to reappear back up here at the top. That's the whole trick of the program. All right, so that's going to require an if command. We're going to have to use an if. And let's think about what are we checking? What's always changing here on the diamond? Well, I think it's the y coordinate, right? It's falling down the screen. So as it falls down the screen, the y coordinate is always changing. So I'm just going to type this in. I'm going to say if diamond dot y becomes greater than, and you can put numbers in here that are bigger than 400. You know your drawing screen's only 400 by 400. But if I want to make sure like it disappears off the screen, I could stick in here a 420 or a 410 or something like that. I'll just try 420 and we'll see how that does. All right, so if the y coordinate of the diamond ever becomes greater than 420, what do I want to have happen? Well, okay, I want to reset it back up to the top for one thing. So I'll do this. I'm going to make, if the y value becomes greater than 420, then I'm going to reset the y value to be 0. Take a look at that. Diamond.y equals 0. That's going to jump it back up to the top. Now, I am also going to do this just to make it a little bit more fun, a little bit more complex. I'm going to say diamond.x, and what I'm going to do here, I could just give it an x value if I wanted to, but I'm going to do this. I'm going to make the x value, the x coordinate of when it jumps back up to the top. Will it be over on the left? Will it be over on the right? Will it be right in the middle? We don't know because it's going to be random. That's for the diamond.x, all right? And I might, just for kicks and giggles, just to make sure that this works, I'm going to copy this command right here, this velocity y that I put in here. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to paste it in down there, so that every time it hits this if command, it's going to reset back up to the top. It'll get a new y value, it'll get a new x value, and it will also be assigned a new velocity every time. So let's study that up a little bit. Look at it. All this stuff in here only comes true if the diamond.y is greater than 420. Okay, let's see if it works. Run it. And I'm just going to let it run a little bit over there. But looping behavior is what we're after. And if you'll watch it, it's working when it slides off the bottom and it reappears on the top. And so you get this constantly dropping objects, right? It's just one object, sorry. This constantly dropping object that just keeps falling and keeps falling. And because I assigned it a random x over here, right here at what, line 8 that is, because I assigned it a random x coordinate, sometimes it falls down over on the left, and sometimes it falls down over on the right, and sometimes it falls right down the middle. And also because I gave it a random velocity here at line number 9, sometimes it falls a little faster than it does at other times. Now, I don't know, can you picture this being part of a game situation? I sure can. All right, anywho, I'm going to hit reset here. I'm going to come up and rename this. This is going to be called loop number 1. Save that name. Run it one more time just for old time's sake. Okay, so that one's done, right? Now, the only difference here, in your second program, the only difference is you got to create the same kind of situation, except it's got to be a sideways thing, right? We have to make it move across the screen one way or another, and then have that looping situation happen. All right, so I think, gosh, I might just make some adjustments here. I'm going to take this, here, before I do that, Control-Z, undo. Let me run that one more time to make sure that I'm saved. Okay, when you run your program, when you hit reset and run, it saves your program. So loop 1 is done and saved, so I'm going to hit remix. I'm going to hit rename. It's going to be loop 2. I'm going to pull this out a little bit, make it bigger in my recording. Now I'm going to make some adjustments here. So this is not, to begin with, I don't want it to have a velocity y anymore. I want it to have a velocity x. So I'm going to bring it over there and drop it. It didn't drop. I'll try it again. All right, and that's going to be diamond. So I could have done that with show text, but oh well. So I'm giving it a velocity x, and I also want to change its starting position up here. Right now, the diamond is going to be starting up here in the center top I don't want that. So I think what I want is over 0 and down 200 here, because I'm going to start it over here on the left-hand side, halfway down, and this velocity x is going to make it move to the right. Okay, now I'm just going to pull out this if block. I'm just going to yank it out of there, and let's run that. So here, see what I got right now? The diamond is moving horizontally, and that's what I want. Now, the challenge here is when it slides off of the right-hand side of the screen, we got to make it jump back over and then go again and again and again and again and again. So let's do that. Here it is. And at this point, you might be saying, oh, okay, I know how to do this. And if you do, go do it, right? But if you don't, then watch. Watch the movie. Watch the movie, pause the movie, study the movie. All right, here we go. So I'm going to bring over an if block, and this is going to be, I'm going to say diamond. I'm just going to type it. I would rather do that. If diamond.x is greater than, okay, again, got to plug a number in here. And if it goes over 400, then it's right at the edge. I'm going to do that whole plug it in a little bit bigger than 400 because I'd like for the diamond to kind of just slip right off of the screen. So I'm going to say greater than 420. When I click off of that, it kind of pops everything into blocks for me there. So all right, very good. What do I want to have happen if that becomes true? All right, well, here's what I want to have happen. First of all, I want the x value, diamond.x, to reset back to 0. Now, you could use a negative number here if you want it to be a little bit off of the screen, a little bit left of the screen. You could plug in a negative number. I don't think I will. I'll just put a 0 there. That'll pop it back over to the left-hand edge, all right, switching from the right side back to the left side. Now for the y, I'm going to do what I did last time here. I'm going to put diamond.y, and I'm going to use a random number, I do believe. And I'll do that whole this random number would go from 0 to 400 because it could, I don't care if it's way up here at the top or clear down at the bottom or anywhere in between there. So I'm going to use that whole range of random numbers there from 0 all the way to 400 for the y coordinate. Now, again, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to take this velocity. It's at line number 3 on my program right here. I'm going to take that command, marquee in there so I can copy it, Control-C. Move my little cursor down here, Control-V, paste. Save me a little time there. And what that does, so every time I reset it, it's going to get a random velocity. Could be going slower or faster, whatever the computer decides. Let's run it. So my diamond is sliding across. And if I let it run, this is what it ought to do, right? It slides across, and once it disappears, once it's gone off the right-hand side, it reappears back on the left-hand side. And it slides across, and some of them are fast, and some of them are slow, and some of them are at the top, and some of them are down at the bottom. And okay, all right, I've done it. I have done it. Now, if you're one of those people that's thinking, wait a minute, I can figure out a way to do both of these looping things in one program. That's okay. That's fine with me. If you would rather just write one program and get both kinds of looping going on. And when I say both kinds, I mean I want something vertical and I want something horizontal. What you're looking at right now is the vertical. I'm sorry. What you're looking at right now is the horizontal one. And what I did a moment ago was the vertical one, the up and down, right, where the diamond fell down the screen and then reappeared back up at the top and kept doing that over and over. All right. Well, folks, that is it. That is Game Lab number, 22. Let's go.